Customer experience, user experience, client experience, employee experience, and the list goes on and on. In fact, experience has become a sort of suffix to which we add different types of actors depending on the idea we want to convey. In today's episode, we actually join the trend, but we take a trip to the other side of the pond, where salsa and merengue are widely danced and political turmoil is a present story. Today, Carla and I talk with Armin Prljaca, Customer Experience Strategy Consultant at PwC Luxembourg's Experience Center. Prepare your passports and let's travel. Welcome to a new episode of TechTalk. The topic of today is very, very exciting. It's linked to UX and asset management. And we actually have called it the one on the CX case study in Latin America, because this story happens in Latin America. And in today's episode, we have Armin Prljaca. I'm sorry, Armin. I know I always pronounce this wrong, but you will correct me after the introduction.
But you have the nerves to pronounce it, unlike me.
Yeah, it's really hard. And
at least you tried.
I have tried. I did my best. And Armin is Customer Experience Strategy Consultant at PwC's Luxembourg Experience Center.
Welcome, Armin.
Welcome,
Armin.
Thank you. Too many complicated words today. So, tell me, how do you pronounce your name?
Armin Prljaca.
Carla, can you try?
Prljaca.
Well,
no.
Just Armin from Friends.
Yes.
Exactly. I think you should give up at one point. We've known each other for a very long time, and
So, if I remember well, the last time you came to, or you took part in one of our episodes was 2 years ago, with our super friend Paramita was behind the show. Am I right?
Right.
Yes, and time has passed. COVID came, things changed, and we are here.
And you enjoyed the experience, and you are here today again.
Exactly.
Of course. And everybody loves TechTalk, Carla. I mean,
of course.
Really. So let's jump into the topic. Like I mentioned before, we are mixing today UX or CX, whatever you want to call it, and asset management and Latin America, which makes me very happy because I was born in Latin America.
Yeah.
So it recalls part of my life. Let's go there. So someone told us you were on the other side of the pond a little bit more than 1 year ago. You were managing an interesting project. And what's the story behind this trip to Latin America?
Yeah, it was a very exciting opportunity, and it was all thanks to the efforts that our partner Fanny Sargent from the AWM practice and our director Jefferson Oliveira, who is leading the EU Latin Business Center. They really developed a strong trust-based relationship with one of our clients there. And this relationship has been built over the course of many years. And once the client was ready for a transformation, it was very natural for them to reach out to us. And by extension, since it was a customer-centric transformation, we worked with our Experience Center, of which I am part, to help transformation of this investment manager. So it was a very interesting opportunity, and also the client, they're part of one of the biggest financial groups in Latin America, and they operate in 6 countries, so they're very, very diverse, even though they focus mostly on Chile and Mexico, of course, but they operate in different countries. But the project was really about putting then the client in the driving seat of the transformation of their business.
That's interesting because you stole one of the questions I had. And that was exactly, you mentioned the company was ready to transform, and my question was, in which sense? But you just said, well, it was all about customer or client and transform around around that. So very nice. I did my job, Carla, also, and we learned that the company is also in El Salvador, Uruguay, Peru,
Chile.
Chile is one of, I think it was incorporated in Chile, in another country. There are 6, I think, like you mentioned.
Exactly.
So, how was your experience working and living? It was in Mexico that you were, right?
Yes, in Mexico and Chile, like most of the time, but we visited other countries as well. Yeah.
Cool. And how long did you stay in each?
So, well, my time was split between traveling to other countries, and then majority of other times was split between Chile and Mexico. Chile and Mexico are 2 very beautiful countries. They are both countries with a huge biodiversity and cultural diversity, and that makes them very attractive tourist hotspots. But also because these countries are so big and diverse, I would really refrain from making any generalizations on whether I would prefer one country over the other, or
they are very different.
Any statement on what kind of countries they are, because in order to do that, you would really have to spend let's say some 6 months touring each region of the country to have a more complete picture. Unfortunately, it's something I did not manage to do in my 6 months of stay there, but it's certainly something I hope to do in the future.
Well, you were working anyway.
Yeah, so I was
not so much time for fun.
Exactly. So when I started working there, what really struck me first was how approachable everybody is, and how different their sense of humor is.
Really?
And how much more human everyone felt compared to I would say the workplace that we experience here in Europe. So I think, I don't think that we are too different from each other. People always act out of context and not their character. So I think that in the end, they've just adjusted their context to allow them to act out of their character a little bit more often. So, yeah.
That's interesting.
So in terms of, because you mentioned something about team spirit, but in terms of more technically speaking, I don't know if it's a technical question, but in terms of project alignment, the way they understand hierarchy, is it the same? I'm asking you based on my experience when I was living there, but it was so many years ago that maybe things have changed.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's a very interesting question, because when I think of one of the first impressions I got there, working on this, which was a top priority project for the company, it was a very high stakes project, and it really had to succeed and so on. And when I saw the people that were put in charge from the client side on many of the important projects in the company, they were all young people. And I think that was something that was very important for them to put people in the positions based on their potential and not only the past experience. So you had young people on important projects really giving their best effort, showing their ambition and pushing really projects forward. Compared to, again, what you experience here in Luxembourg is, if you have a very important project, you will look to bring out your big guns and put somebody, 20, 30 years of experience.
The dinosaur, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm not. Yes, when you say, oh my God, I've seen this person 10 times in the last couple of months. Yeah, I can understand, but that's very nice then. So they are betting on the youth, the young professionals.
Exactly. And I think that's as well very important for them, because these countries have, in Latin America, everybody from the youth would like to go to US, and I think the whole Latin American continent kind of lives in the shadow of the United States, which is so powerful, and economically it's a very big force on the continent, of course, and giving actually young well-educated and ambitious people an opportunity within their own society. I think it's a very, very good path forward for them collectively
yes, of course.
to overcome the challenges that they have there.
Absolutely.
That's very good. A very good point. Going back to the company, can you elaborate a bit why the company felt like it needed to take a step forward in customer experience? Was it more front office oriented or focused also on the back office transformation?
Yeah, so I would say that different transformation efforts have different triggers, and some of them start as a reaction to an external stimuli that the organization feels. Others start often as a response to an internal stimuli. But I think that the most powerful transformations happen when both internal and external stimuli come into force at the exact same moment. And I think this certainly was the case with our client. And the management felt that the opportunity in the market was there, but they were just not growing as fast as their competitors were. So they were really not seizing the big portion of that growth opportunity. Internally, they felt that the operating model needed to be revamped in order to be able to seize that growth. So we really embarked on a complete front-to-back transformation, and we put the clients of our client in the driving seat, which then helped us to better seize that market opportunity and to revamp the operating model to be aligned with their needs.
I have a question that just came to my mind. So you mentioned that the company operates in several countries, and you also mentioned the client. So you were talking to clients in different countries?
Exactly. So I actually, the reason why I visited all these countries, plus as well, not just in Latin America, but also I was in the US, it's because I interviewed over 40 clients of the clients. So those were from different segments, they were from different countries, and really we went into their offices, we saw how they work, we got to know the local markets, we got to know the market constraints, needs, and etc. So to get this complete picture of their client base, we had to go to them and be really close to them and understand them and form this kind of a relationship that helped us during the duration of the project and that are still in place, where they're involved in the transformation of this investment manager as trusted advisors, as clients, but also as partners in different co-creation workshops that we did together, in different product development sessions, and etc. etc.
It is to mention, dear audience, that all this happened before COVID. I would say right when COVID started.
Well, that's true. We did the first part of this mission on the ground, interviewing and so on. And then just between the phase 1 and 2 of the project, I had this holiday. I was lucky to be in Chile there for 2 weeks. And then we were beginning the phase 2 in Mexico. And I had to be repatriated because that's when the virus struck. So we did the phase 2 of the project on remote. Then involving, again, many of these clients from the phase 1 and the people, etc., but doing it on remote.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. I think.
How did you pull that off?
Yes, that's the last question. We set that aside for the last part. So I have a technology-wise question, which is actually the main matter of our podcast is technology. So this back office / front office transformation, which in the end became like an operational transformation, involved the creation of software apps, client-facing apps like banking apps, or I'm saying like banking type of apps, or not necessarily?
Well, I think that if I think of the role of the technology, it really helped us a lot in collaborating with clients and employees. And here I was surprised how advanced the client was in the use of the real-time collaboration tools. It's due to the unfortunate fact that in Mexico they had an earthquake not so long ago, and in Chile they experienced a social crisis, which forced many of the businesses to adopt these business continuity procedures, which involved working remotely for majority of their workforce. So they had this experience, and they had already put the tools in place and the best practices, etc., to work on remote. So when the same happened with the COVID, what we did was again to come back to these real-time collaboration tools, to come back to different tools that we used for interviewing clients, etc., to drive that transformation on remote. So in that sense, when we think about the customer experience and its relationship with the topic, I would say that it's what's important is to empower people, the employees, to create their own solutions, not just pursuing a large IT transformation project. So if we are looking at improving the customer experience on day-to-day basis, the employees should be empowered to use no-code tools or low-code tools, and should be upskilled to do that for the benefit of the client. So really proactively identifying the customer problems through the customer research, and then using these kind of tools to provide quick solutions to those issues.
Okie doke. Cara, you go with the next, or do you want me to? Yeah, you go ahead.
Go ahead. So let's talk about asset management in Latin America. We know that Mexico, Brazil, and Peru are hotspots for pension funds. What was the focus of your client?
Well, the focus of our client was to better understand their clients, whoever they are and wherever they are. So once we created the customer journeys, after we conducted these over 40 interviews and over 80 interviews with their employees, we constructed both customer and employee personas. And then we went ahead and we appointed the heads of each segment. So it was a very important step in pivoting from a function-led organization to a customer-centric organization, because each segment got its head of the segment, but also the team, which was made up of individuals coming from different functions. So it could be IT, it could be investments, could be distributions, operations, and so on. And because of the structure of this team, they had a much closer relationship with their segment and with their clients. So they knew the issues that they had to, the problems that they had to solve for the client, and the solutions that they had to offer. And this allowed the organization to move away from the thinking of offering products and services to really thinking about offering the solutions to the problems that the clients face in their day-to-day work. And when they are offering these solutions, it allowed them to put themselves in the shoes of the client and to think about the human on the other end of this business transaction, who had a problem to be solved, who had an opportunity that they liked to seize. So,
I mean, I have a question regarding this, because actually the website, the client's website, mentions three main pillars. So the company has pension funds, like Carla mentioned before. It has investment advice, but it also advises individuals. So my question is this one: when you were, running this phase, asking clients, you were asking both type of clients, individuals, but also institutional clients, or I'm asking something that is completely senseless?
No, that's I think that's completely true. When you're looking at at this type of an industry, you have the big players, so it could be the sovereign wealth funds, big pension funds, and etc. So all of these are, of course, segmented a bit without going much detail in it. But then on the other hand, maybe you have a family office, maybe you have a market of wealth managers that cater to affluent, mass affluent, and so on. And each one of the segments is very different in the way that you approach them and in the way that you interact with them, because of course their size reflects very much on that, and their needs can be very different, and their needs at the same time can be the same in other fields. So if you are talking to a big pension fund, I think it's very important that you know the regulation in each of these local markets. And this is where, as a PwC, we were really able to add value to the client because we knew the pension funds regulation in each of the markets. But then the same applies for the insurance companies. And then, on the other hand, you have the family offices, and family offices maybe have a different set of needs. They would like to diversify their investments. They are much more approachable. Operational excellence is not as a top priority as it is for insurance companies and the pension funds. Maybe they're not so sensible on the fees on the other hand. But what they want is a greater selection of the products to choose from. So while pension funds and insurance companies, their portfolios are very carefully managed, and they like what we call these plain vanilla products. Family office would really like to find this kind of unique and exotic products to invest in, because they have different set of needs. And now in Latin America, what we're seeing as well is that due to this COVID crisis, that many of the family offices are now much more aware of the environment in which they operate, the society and so on. So they also want to give back. So the focus now is as well on how can they give back to the society and reinvest.
That's really super powerful. Because sometimes we think this, I'm saying this like a bicontinental person who was born in a side of the world but lives in another one. Sometimes in Europe we think, well, we are way ahead of everything. Yeah. And in the other side they are already, even you mentioned technology-wise, they were not more prepared, but they were prepared. And also they are already thinking of sustainability, sustainable finance, in ways to impact the environment positively. Yeah. I think that's very, very powerful. I have a philosophical question, Carla, but I don't know if you want to go for that one.
Go ahead.
Because it's okay. So transformation today, customer experience transformation. Some claim it's a people thing. Some claim it's a technology thing. So the motivation behind. And the question is if we can actually nowadays transform the way we serve customers without technology.
Yeah, I would say that the answer really depends on the type of industry. Investment management is an industry with a set of commoditized choices. And in such an environment where there is a race to the bottom on prices, I think CX can be a really powerful differentiator. And then, again, as we've mentioned, different segments, depending on the segment itself, technology can play a large role in delivering the operational excellence. So, because, for example, in segments like pension funds and insurance companies, this is a key differentiator in the market. And I would say, especially in Latin America, to be able to offer the operational excellence and this kind of a guarantee to the clients. However, if you look at the family office, as I said before, or on the wealth management side, the CX could focus more on the front-end part of the customer journey to really deliver that wow effect, which in this case then is a differentiator. So again, CX should always be used as a power of differentiator in the market and not something where you would try to reduce the cost with. Mm-hmm. And in our age, I think that technology almost always has a place in supporting the client. But first we need to understand what for before we understand how. So again, here the key is to involve the client in the co-creation of this ideal customer journey to have the answer to that question.
So what for before how?
Exactly. You got it, Luis.
You have to write that down, Carlita.
Yes.
Go for the next one, Carla, please.
Yes. Which CX technique used by the Experience Center resonated the most during your work with the Latin American teams?
I would underline the co-creation and self-facilitation here, probably. And because halfway through the project, we had this 3-day executive decision-making event that we organized in our PwC Experience Center in Miami with the help of our US colleagues. And there we gathered the whole executive committee, the clients of our clients, the future segment leaders, PwC experts, and we involved them all in the co-creation of this ideal customer-centric organization. we provided the insights and we asked the right questions, but it was really them who, with the use of the self-facilitation, arrived at the vision of this customer-centric or the client-centric organization that they wanted to have. And I think that this collaborative process really allowed for the rapid alignment at the executive committee level, and it allowed for almost a real-time buy-in into the transformation. And I cannot stress how important and how critical this is when we are talking about transformation project. Absolutely. Is the executive alignment and buy-in, and to have that happen kind of in a real time, I think that's very powerful. So here, this is why I put the accent on the self-facilitation and co-creation as a key to having that happen very early on in the project, and to have that happen in a very natural way, as opposed to doing the classic kind of a consulting approach where you would come up with a set of a recommendation. Exactly. And then you would leave the client to choose the way that they implement that. And here we put an accent on saying, okay, well, here are the insights that we have from your employees and from your clients. Here's the view of our PwC expert. Here we have the client in front of you. So here's the right question. What is your answer? And out of that, finding really a way forward on the transformation. What I really remember in the end is the client leaving the session with such an enthusiasm and hope for like this new future that they are going to build with their client, for their client.
May I confess you something, guys? Yes. I am jealous of the past. Because when Armin, refers to this super gathering with people and the board of directors, executives, and and now we don't do that. I mean, we cannot do that. It's just
you're just jealous because I said that we did it in Miami. Please.
No.
Exactly. Good point, Armin.
If you had told me I did that in San Francisco, I will be insanely jealous.
Well, it would still be cool.
It would be cool, but on New York, Miami, I don't know. I'm just kidding. Sorry if you live in Miami. I'm not having anything against Miami at all.
I have one question, actually.
Yes, go ahead.
So did you get any feedback from the clients afterwards? Did they apply what was done during this meeting?
Yeah, of course, we continue to help client in the phase 2 of this project, where we actually selected one pilot case to actually bring this whole transformation, but encapsulated in one segment in one country. And we continue to work with them for a number of months, really like helping them construct these segment teams, helping work with the segment owner, making sure that they've got the right methodology, tools, people, and the process in place. So really looking at the constructing kind of a set of these core capabilities for them to carry out this transformation. And once we felt that they were ready to do that, we let them scale this to other countries and other segments. So it was really about creating that lasting transformation in the mindset, in the way that they think about their business, in the way that they think about their customers, and letting them be independent later on in executing this transformation. So we transfer the methodology, as I was mentioning earlier, around facilitation, co-creation, customer journey maps, building of the personas, product roadmaps, product backlogs, sprint, all of this agile stuff. But in the end, it's the client who adopted it in their own way and is carrying out now this transformation, with a really, I would say, rapid pace throughout all of the countries, and is becoming, I would say, one of the most customer-centric organizations in Latin America. And it's really amazing to see, for me, the transformation and the impact we had on the employees of this company. And I remember this one moment from the session where I remember I interviewed one of the executives before the session and so on. And I was like, oh my God, this guy is going to be a complete blocker. And I was preparing myself already for the session. I was like, okay, we have to manage the stakeholder carefully and so on. I hope that when we ask the questions, and because it's an exercise with the self-facilitation where they provide the answer, I hope that it won't be blocking everything. but this approach was so transformational to so many of these executives, because it really removed all the boundaries and all of these preconceived ideas that they had in their mind, and really allowed them to open themselves up to think of the new possibilities, new ideas, and so on. I remember this guy was so active during the session. He was like on the floor without the shoes. He was shouting. He was so happy. And I remember the CEO said to other colleagues, he was like, where's his box with pills? Please give him back. Something's not normal with him.
Calm him down, please. Calm him down.
So mission accomplished.
Exactly.
You know, he just answered the last question, which was a cool anecdote, work related to personal.
Maybe there is more.
Unless there is more.
Yeah.
Oh. I must say that you look like an expert. You speak like an expert.
Wow, thank you. I guess if we all work at PwC, must be the experts, no?
Really?
Like some self-patting on the back.
No, really. It's in the excitement and, you know, the vivid of course, there are vivid experiences, but you did say that in a vividly way that it's so nice to hear. So yeah, the last question is an anecdote. So I'm sure you have one more.
Yeah, I think there's so many anecdotes that you could tell, you know, with this experience that we had in Latin America.
Is there one with a chili from Mexico?
There's one from Chile then. I think we always remember the ones that, you know, make us feel something really good or something really bad. Just like with the pain and gain points of the customer journey, you know. You always remember the worst moments you had with the company and the best, and everything in the middle you forget. And one really good moment I had when I was there was the client organized this after-works drinks, and it was in downtown of Santiago. And when we finished with the drinks, I took a Uber to the hotel, and it was the first time a lady picked me up with a Uber in Latin America, because usually it's always for some reason male drivers. And I was really excited to hear her story, so in my broken Spanish I started a conversation, but trust me, I was not going anywhere. So, but on the radio at that moment a song started to play, and it was from Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You.
Okay,
she
the
started
bodyguard.
to sing it like a very like quiet, and then I started to sing as well a bit louder, and like in the end we had this wonderful duet.
There was a bonding moment.
It was in Spanish. Exactly. It's dueto. It was a dueto.
Exactly.
Excellent. Well, I think we are done. Unless Carla want to add something?
No.
I think it was a wonderful conversation. Very funny, very enjoyable, and very insightful as well.
I hope you enjoyed too, Armin.
Of course, I always enjoy coming to this podcast. If I could be on every episode, you know.
So I just keep in my mind something when it comes to customer transformation. Think of the what for first, and then think of the how.
Exactly.
Am I right?
Exactly.
Thank you for that one. It's very good. So this is TechTalk, technology made simple
over a cup of coffee.
Exactly, or tea.
We've learned a lesson.
We learned that one. Maybe you have any other preferred drink.
Well, I prefer Luxembourgish Crémant. Just to support now the local industry. I think it's very important. So
that's very good.
I've become over the course of this pandemic a kind of a freak about everything Luxembourgish and local. And now I'm trying to shop local, to discover local experiences, brands, and so on. And I invite to everybody who's listening now to the podcast to be also a bit more mindful when you go to your next shopping experience to try to discover some new flavors of the country.
That's absolutely.
I'm all up for that.
So that's all for today.
Thank you.
Until the next episode, thanks a lot for tuning in. Ciao. And that was it. What an enjoyable talk. And remember, this is TechTalk, technology made simple over a cup of coffee, a tea, or whatever drink you prefer. Until the next one.